Welcome back into the QB Huddle Podcast. I'm Tim Smith, joined by my podcast partner, Brandon Newey.
Let's go.
We're here to talk all things quarterbacks all season long. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe, the like, and the share buttons. Get involved. We had a great weekend of football, Brandon. We're into week 4. Let's get started like we always do in college.
Oh, yeah.
I know you want to talk about the big game, Alabama versus Georgia. Alabama with, I guess, a perceived upset, even though it was in Alabama, and Georgia seems to always falter against them. The game started out fast. Alabama got out to a huge lead. Georgia does make a comeback, but not till the fourth quarter. It was already, they're already down by 17, I think. They're down 3 scores going into that fourth quarter, and they did mount a tiny little comeback, but man, what did you see out of that Alabama team? It looks like doesn't look like the first couple weeks of Alabama did it.
It's athletes across the board, man.
It's really not fair.
It's like watching a mini NFL team.
Where's the allegations? Right? Where are the allegations?
Oh, they're coming. No, I don't know, but
they've been getting away with this stuff for years. They're never going to get investigated.
Man, it's something in the water down there. They're building good programs. It was a battle. Now defensively, man, they both got to go to Sunday morning workouts, man. Giving up 40 points, giving up 30 plus, and
they didn't give up.
That's not their style of football.
They only gave up 19 in the fourth quarter, and you got to imagine it was somewhat similar to 2 weeks ago with the Ravens-Cowboys, where you've been in a game, you get the big lead, you kind of take off the gas a little bit.
Not Saban's teams. No.
Well, that's what it looked like happened because all of a sudden
you can't do that. Yeah.
The difference in the game to me was Beck's 3 interceptions.
That was crucial.
He didn't look good until that fourth quarter, and by then it was too late. I'm kind of out on Carson Beck after this weekend because of what I saw versus essentially an NFL defense. And he was just throwing balls away. You're talking 3 interceptions that really probably were the difference in this one.
Yeah, big time. Turnovers will kill you, man.
The one, so, those turnovers are going to kill you every time. How about Milroe? Because last year he looked like a running back trying to learn how to play quarterback.
He looks like a total different player.
Listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that's what he looked like. His throwing motion was terrible. He would run with the ball way out here, and he was primarily look at one guy and take off running. Here's what I saw from him. A different mechanic, a different fluid throwing motion, and he only ran if he needed to. He was dealing out of the pocket, which we didn't see last year, and it was smooth. His throwing motion looks a lot like Jaden Daniels now. Did you notice the difference in Milroe this past weekend?
Absolutely, and I think coaching matters. I think when you have a good quarterback developer like this head coach here, he helped develop, Michael Penix for 2 years, and now you see true efficiency from Milroe. He's a new wave of quarterback. It really started with Kyler and Lamar, and then it kind of evolved, and now you see this Jaden Daniels effect, like these guys who can really move, super uber athletic, but can also throw in the pocket. Most guys couldn't do that, right? Just like Pat White there. It was one or the other. They can do it okay, but not as effective as this. 27 of 33, 374 yards. Granted, he had a turnover. It happens when you're throwing over 25 times. It's going to happen. But the fact is 16 carries, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. This man had almost 500 yards of total offense against a Georgia team coming off of back-to-back national champions just removed about a couple years ago, and they still have that same team. This team is a veteran team, and he did it in style, man. That Ryan Williams kid, 17 years old.
He's the best player on the team.
He moves different. His just body control. I think he ran out of spins on his on that circle button on the game.
One spin, he just kind of stopped and
freak. He's a freak. He reminds me of Smith from Philly.
Sure.
He has that body style of Slim Reaper. He just moves. He moves very well. Carson Beck, that comeback was good. Let's not say it wasn't good. But you can't have 3 turnovers. You can't underthrow the fade twice. You miss inside. Late, bad things happen, quarterbacks. You miss inside on those type of throws. Bad things happen. High and outside. Either he gets it or no one else does. Live to fight another down. right? Now, kudos to him for the comeback, but unfortunately, I believe these two teams will meet again.
Oh, of course they will.
Yeah,
College
they're going to meet
football
again.
will make sure they meet again.
Yeah, but with that win, Texas drops to 2. And so,
Which is ridiculous to me, by the way. Let's talk about that because
It's
I am
not.
tired. I am
It's not.
tired.
It's
As a
not.
college football
That's a
fan,
better
I am
win.
tired. Listen, I am tired of every time Alabama gets a marquee win, we automatically move them to number 1. That's just college football. That's what they do. They always want Alabama in that number 1 spot. Texas didn't do anything to drop a spot, so they shouldn't have dropped a spot. You know what I mean? Like they won a game convincingly with their backup quarterback, who might be the best quarterback in the country, but is still going to be the number 2 backup to Ewers when he gets healthy. I don't like it. I feel like if you're winning games, you're number 1. You're winning games. You beat Michigan already. You're winning games. You're playing with the number 2 quarterback, regardless of how good he is. He's still the number 2 on the depth chart. And you lose your ranking, and we just throw Alabama at number 1. I think it's ridiculous. You'll hear me talk about this all season long.
I don't.
I am tired of seeing
I
Alabama
disagree, man.
being forced into that number 1 spot. It's absolutely asinine.
I
If you're
disagree.
the number 1 team, and you don't falter, you shouldn't lose your ranking to Alabama just because they're Alabama.
Well, check
I
this
almost
out,
said a
brother.
curse word there.
We're check this out, brother. Are you ready to prove that you are the number 1 team? Because you know who you got to go against, right? You got a bye
Oklahoma
week
game.
right now. The Oklahoma game and then the Georgia game.
Now here's the thing.
gonna find out.
After Texas beats Oklahoma, will they get their number 1 spot back? No, they won't. Alabama will stay in that number 1 spot from now until the end of the college year, unless they lose a game, which I doubt they will, because really and truly, outside of Georgia and maybe one other game this year, there's no teams to really match up with Alabama. There never is. So the fact that we just put them at number 1 arbitrarily when Texas had earned that spot, it really irritates me. And it takes away from the validity of the college football rankings. Now, this year it doesn't matter as much because we have playoffs. And guess what? Alabama's going to have to win a bunch of games to be in that national title game. So we'll see what shakes out. But I'm tired of seeing them at number 1. I'm tired.
Brother,
I'm tired
Texas has 2 other ranked games. Everybody else is subpar. Alabama has Tennessee, Missouri, who's in the top 10, LSU, who's in the top 15, Oklahoma, who's in the top 20, and they got their rival game, Auburn.
That's great.
So
That's
I mean,
great.
if we go look at the
if they-
Texas
if
schedule,
they-
I mean, do they just beat the number 2 team in the country and put 41
I
on
understand.
them? What more
I
do you want?
understand. But Texas didn't make their schedule. If they were already number 1, they didn't lose. How did they lose their ranking? It doesn't. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Especially after
Well,
they've
according
already
to
beaten,
ESPN right
they've
now,
beaten
they're still number 1.
But the AP poll doesn't
I don't
show
know.
that.
Yep.
And what will happen is Alabama, and you know college football will make
Dude.
sure that this happens. Alabama will get a home playoff game. They could lose this year, and they'll still be number 1. Mark my
No,
words.
the
Mark
playoffs.
my words. That happens every year.
Look, it's a different playoff structure, similar to the NFL, right? So
See,
Texas road. If you look at Texas, I mean, yes, they got back-to-back tough games, regardless. I think they roll through the rest. The only one I'm concerned about is A&M and Kentucky in the back end, right? Those are just
it's
games.
all
going to
shake out in the playoffs. I just hope that.
So-
I just hope that a team like Texas doesn't have to travel to go
Yeah, they're number
play
2, my bad.
to go play Alabama at some point because you just arbitrarily move Texas down to. But Texas should be safe. They are an SEC team, which is the darling conference of college football. So if you are in the SEC, you definitely get preferential treatment when it comes to the rankings. In my opinion, you just do.
If you win out, it's just like if you win out, you get a bye. You got to win out.
Understood,
Texas
but
has to win
again,
out. They have to win
Texas
out to
didn't
get the
lose.
bye.
Texas did not lose. There's no reason for them to have lost that number 1 spot. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It'll all shake out at the end. USC and Michigan got wins this weekend. Michigan played
Good win.
Minnesota.
Good win.
Absolute burger juice. That they beat
It's like
Minnesota.
one of the oldest rivalries in college history, isn't it?
I understand, but Minnesota is not a good team. Minnesota has
jug.
never been a good team, and
almost beat
Michigan should win that game. Michigan will probably win a lot of their games because their schedule is not very tough, but we're not very good. We shouldn't be in the top 20. We don't have a quarterback. I don't understand how the University of Michigan doesn't have a 5-star quarterback on their team. It's confusing to me. I don't like it. I don't understand it.
It is
There's
a little
a
confusing.
tradition there, and obviously Harbaugh left the team and didn't care what he was leaving behind. How do you feel about USC? I mean, do you feel like USC is headed anywhere this year?
I think we're going to compete. I do. I think that defensively, great performance. Offensively, they look pretty good. In the beginning, it looked a little shaky, like Wisconsin was just going to roll all over them again. It's like, but Miller Moss showed up, man. That kid can play.
Yeah.
He's an LA native. You know, he's always wanted this opportunity. I don't know how high he'll go in the draft. I'm not sure. I mean, he doesn't look very big. But he put together a really good performance, 30 of 45, 308, 3 touchdowns. He did have a rushing touchdown, so he had 4 total touchdowns in this game. He's good.
That game
man.
was in Wisconsin, right?
No, it was at SC.
Oh,
That's important.
Okay.
That's important. The schedule really lines up. Now we got Penn State coming in, and they're coming to LA, which is great.
You're lucky you're not going to Penn State.
Yeah, and then the early ones. Yeah, that would be tough, man. That would be tough going to Penn State. But next year it's probably going to happen. Then you go to Maryland. Then you go Rutgers comes there. You go to Washington. It's a non-conference game, so we'll see what happens, man. A lot of these good teams come to us, and that's what we needed. We needed that Michigan win, but only losing by 3, I was just like, okay.
Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten. I don't see any way around that.
I just want to get in the playoffs.
I don't see. Although
I just want to get in the playoffs.
You know what? Let me
get in the
digress.
playoffs. See what happens.
I forget that Oregon's in there now.
Man, nobody's worried about Oregon.
They didn't play great this weekend, but they had great uniforms.
They haven't played great all year, Tim.
How about Colorado getting a big win against Baylor, moving to 3-0? Of course, if you listen to Deion Sanders, everybody in the world wants them to lose. That's simply not the case. I personally don't care if Colorado wins or loses anymore. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I'm tired of the sideshow, but I enjoy watching Travis Hunter play. I enjoy watching Shiloh play. I enjoy watching Shador play. We're big Deion Sanders fans, both of us, from his prime playing days.
Sure.
So, of course, I enjoy watching that. They won the game. It wasn't great. I don't think Baylor's a great team. I still don't think Colorado is a great team. I still think they have deficiencies on the line, which is where, you win and lose games more oftentimes than not. Colorado, was that impressive for you in the Big 12 to get a win over Baylor?
Over Baylor? Hell yeah, that was impressive. And then they went and routed UCF in their home stadium 48-21. I think these last 3 games, I think Colorado they're starting to figure it out. They realize they are extremely talented. They have talent, man. It's discipline. It's alignment. It's being gap sound.
I did say Baylor. I meant UCF.
Yeah, but hey,
it's
that
not
was
impressive
still
over UCF.
That was still, to me, that was impressive too. I mean, you just go on the road. Look, what are your expectations for Colorado?
You know what? Honestly, I don't have any. I don't expect them to be in the playoffs. I don't expect them to win the Big 12, and it's no slight on Deion or what they're doing there, but I just think they're basically rebuilding an entire program, and that's not easy to do in big-time college football. So I think that until they can solidify the O&D line, I don't expect much out of Colorado, right? I mean, Shador Sanders has to scramble on damn near every play because he has 0 time
these last few
throw the ball. Well, UCF is not a great team. I mean, if we're being honest.
But Baylor is
great or decent.
Well, I would say
nobody in the Big 12.
There's no great teams in the Big 12.
Here's my thing. Nobody in the Big 12 stops the run.
I'd say Utah and Kansas State are like the Utah, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. I feel like are the top dogs in the Big 12, right? So now they're about to run into a little bit of a gauntlet, and I say that just
who do they play next?
They play Kansas State.
Oh,
and Kansas State just routed Oklahoma State. I've never seen a blowout like that before. I was very disappointed as an Oklahoma State fan. That was horrible. I like all teams from Oklahoma.
Big 12 is a little crazy for me.
It sucks, man. I felt bad. Gundy's coached that team for 20 years, and I haven't seen a blowout like that ever in that era. So they got to regroup. Kansas State is Avery Johnson, that quarterback. He looks good, man. He looks good. I hope Is it Avery Johnson? Yeah, it's Avery Johnson.
Yeah,
He's like a little baby Lamar Jackson. He's
I
nice.
remember when the Big 12 used to be right up there. I don't feel like they're necessarily up there with the SEC and the Big Ten anymore. I remember when they used to be back in the day, but the Big 12 is just, I don't know, all of college football, all these conferences and the realignments. It's kind of kooky, kind of crazy.
Kinda
And
turned
I'll
into
tell you
the
what, Nick
Pac-12.
Saban said last week, he said that the NIL is killing college football. So
Yes.
we're gonna see, man. We've got kids holding out because they didn't get what they were promised, so they're not playing football. We've got the transfers. Do you realize that with the transfers, that kids that transfer more than once, the rate of not graduating is up in the 90s? So now you've got these
That's not
kids that
good,
are just
man.
moving around playing football. Oh, I'm not starting. I don't like it here. I'm gonna go play somewhere else. Oh, I don't like it here. I'm gonna go play. You got some kids that have transferred 3 or 4 times, right?
It's not good.
It's getting out of hand. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily disagree with what Nick Saban said. I hope that they can find a way to regulate it and fix it, because we can't have the college football looking like the NFL, right? We can't have kids just moving around every single season.
I feel like college football, man, to a degree, is watered down.
Oh, it is.
It is, because you don't have these powerhouses anymore. Like the upsets happen weekly.
Right.
It's, I mean, you can't run up. You just, the teams that pay $3 million, $4 million, and these teams go and kick your ass.
Yeah, it's goofy.
Transfer portal. Hey, I'm all for the transfer portal. I like it, but I feel like it needs to be a little bit restricted to a degree.
I don't like it. I
Also,
don't like
the
the idea.
NIL, like let's put tiers here. Let's not, or
Brandon,
just,
how many times?
I don't
when
know,
you were-
man. It's a little bit strange, but get your money.
How many times when you were growing up did you not like your situation and just be able to change it? I mean, I never was able to do that as a kid. And what I don't like about that is, as an adult, you are learning some bad habits. You can't just be an adult and be going through a situation and decide, I'm just going to leave this situation and go to another situation. Time and time again. At some point, you've got to stick it. You got to stick it out, right?
Got to stick it out.
If you're not the starter, earn the job. Don't just go
Right.
to another school. It's kind of
I
It's a
can't
mess
be
out there.
I can't be a hypocrite on it because I transferred, in college, but my situation was
Your situation was different.
it was a little
Listen,
different. I stayed for 3 years. I did
There should be
everything I absolutely
criteria.
could. So
There
yeah,
should be criteria.
I
They-
didn't
they
want to
had-
leave.
Tell
but-
me if I'm wrong, but if I remember your story correctly, you were in like a triple offense type of offense, and they wanted you to run the ball, even though you were actually a quarterback and you wanted to play the quarterback position, and so you had to go somewhere where you could actually play quarterback and not have to essentially be a third running back. Is that pretty close to what your situation was?
Man, a little bit, but it had to do with just, they already had a starter, which, he was really good, right? He came into my class. He was ahead of me.
Was that
when
Colby?
it came.
No.
No, Colby was like
Okay.
3 years ahead of me, and
Okay.
he was the guy. Like once he was done, I was the guy to come in to do it. That is
Gotcha.
how it was recruited. However, our head coach, when we signed our offer letter, 5 days later he resigns. Oh,
Now, see, I'm
Right.
okay with a kid transferring for that because you went
Right,
to the
but-
school for that coach.
Yeah, and I stayed for 3 years. Now, granted, I thought I could do this, which I had opportunities, but they just kept rotating. And it's, like quarterbacks, man, only one guy can play that position. The other guy's got to support him. And so,
Yeah.
granted, this guy was good. As much as I didn't want to leave, I knew there was an opportunity because that team at UCO, every time I played them, I was the one that started, and they ended up beating them each time. So I knew I could contribute. And I'm just looking at my coach like, hey, man, I want to transfer after beating East Central, go up north. He allowed me to transfer in the conference. To
That's
me,
nice of him.
it's nice, but to
Kind of
me
a
as a
slap in the
player,
face to
it's
you.
a slap in the face that well, you can transfer in that conference. We'll beat you. Well, long story short, when they played us, we beat them like 45-6 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had an amazing game. It was a cool story, but it was. I didn't want to leave. You got some of your best friends on that team, but hey, you gotta do what's best for you at the end of the day. And I mean, if it makes sense logically, and just not emotionally, then go ahead and do that. So,
True.
It needs to be held, but it needs to be reserved a little bit, though. That's just my opinion.
Maybe some criteria needs to be met.
Pull back. We don't need you at 18 years old, 19 years old with Lamborghinis.
Right.
Like, man, I remember being young, having fast cars, and those things are dangerous, man. Super fast, you love it, but it's like, damn, this thing is going.
Speaking of fast cars, let's just touch on this. That we've spent a lot of time on college football today. We truly have to move on, but the last piece of this is the Heisman watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got one guy in the Heisman watch, and I don't think it's close for anyone else to even come near what he's doing. But I'll let you go first. We've got Milroe and Ward and Hunter and Ashton Gentry. Who do you have right now? First quarter of the season's over. Who do you think is in the lead for the Heisman?
God, that's tough. This is a really good four to start out in the first half of the season. For me, I'm gonna go Milroe. I think his development. He's averaging 4 touchdowns a game. He just beat the number 2 team in the country, arguably the most dominant team in the country for the past years, for a few years actually. And he just looks like a completely different player, man. He's looking to lead. So that would be my guy at this moment.
Okay.
What about you?
I got Travis Hunter, and anybody that can go out there and
He's
play, 100 plus snaps a game, play receiver and DB and dominate and make plays throughout the entire game. To me, it's not close. Now, I realize the MVP and the Heisman has become a quarterback award. They're going to have to give it to somebody other than a quarterback this year, in my opinion. Jalen gets a knock for me because he plays for Alabama. Everybody on his team is the best at their position in the country. So hard for me to give a Heisman to a guy that's playing with talent around him like that. Understand it, what he's doing. I get it. But Travis Hunter, we've never seen this since Charles Woodson, and Charles Woodson wasn't even doing it at this.
I agree.
At this many snaps. So I love what Travis Hunter's doing. No, I don't think he can do this in the NFL. I don't think anyone could do this in the NFL. Could he play on both sides at times? Sure. But he's going to have to pick a position to start at. Probably DB, in my opinion, and then play some receiver throughout games.
I think he's a receiver, Tim.
I don't know. I think you get more out of him if you start him at corner, because what you can't do is play him at receiver and then put him at corner for a series. That doesn't work. So either start him at corner. You might
get more out of him.
You get more out of him if you start him, even if you start him at safety, right? And let him fly around the field. And then every once in a while, we're going to put you at receiver. We're going to move you around. We're going to do different things. That's what I would do if I was an NFL team. But I think Travis Hunter, man, it's impressive. And I get that Deion's kind of pushing it and forcing it a little bit because he wants a Heisman Trophy to come out of Colorado, whether it's his son or Travis. But the fact that Travis can do it, and it's amazing. Can he do it the rest of the season? I don't know. He must be in incredible shape because I don't know anyone that could do that, but he's doing great.
I don't think we're talking enough about Ashton Genty, how he's on trajectory to break Barry Sanders' rushing record.
Well, that's pretty impressive too.
That's never happened.
But unless he's going to play linebacker at the same time, I can't put him next to Travis Hunter.
Cam Ward is resurging the Miami Hurricanes. I think that's fun to see. Man, he's top 3 in passing yards. I think he's top 3 in everything, every category. But the emergence of that, and granted it is the ACC, he's probably got to run away with it with an undefeated season. I think for Travis to win it, I think he's going to have to win. I think Colorado needs to win 3 more games. If he wins 3 more games and he performs at the high level that he's doing, it's no question he's going to win. I don't think
they need to win any more games.
I mean, we all know he's the best player in the country. Like, it's not close, right? We all know that. I think to get that, it needs to be, a couple more picks, get 1,000-yard season as a receiver. You're already targeted. Your projection is to 100 receptions, which is great, which is fantastic, right? But get a couple more. Let's get 2 or 3 more wins, and I think it's a lock.
He's the first read on every pass play.
Right.
And quarterbacks on the other team tend to stay away from him. So
he's built like Justin Jefferson to me.
He doesn't look very big, but I guess he's
6'1", but he plays.
He doesn't look that big.
It's like Justin. They play taller than what you think.
Yeah.
Like Justin Jefferson's only 6'1", 200? Maybe.
Yeah, he's skinny for sure.
And he's routing you
So
up.
that's going to wrap up our college segment this week. Lots to talk about.
All
It's getting
right.
better and better. Loving the college football landscape. And now we get into the NFL,
Uh-oh.
right? The 49ers beat the Patriots, and we're going to let you talk all about that. I've had to hear it for 4 or 5 days now. Every conversation goes back to Brock Purdy somehow, some way. But right now we're going to focus on
This is
the
my boy.
Cowboys and the Giants. You think as a Cowboys fan, I'd be very excited. We got to win. We beat the Giants. We're supposed to beat the Giants. Look, we've beaten the Giants for like 20 years. The Giants, not a good football team. Our defense still looked like crap. We stopped the run, but we couldn't stop the pass. Daniel Jones was on fire. There was 4 or 5 balls that were dropped in that game that were good throws. When they got in the red zone defense was good, but a lot of that was Giants' ineptitude. They kicked all field goals. Had the receivers outside of Malik Neighbors been able to catch the ball, Cowboys may lose that game because of they were just giving up all these passes to Daniel Jones. Somehow Daniel Jones gets benched after this game. I don't understand how, because he was 29 for 40. I mean, he was dealing in the game. And like I said, I saw, yeah, that's what I heard it Monday, is that he will not be starting. I hope that's fake news, or maybe he has an injury, but I thought he played good and really should have
past 3 games.
Should have beat Dallas. Dallas was in that Dink and Dak offense again. Very effective, 22 of 27. Listen, when Dak throws less than 30 times, the Cowboys are 28-6. When he throws more than 39 times, they're 8-17. So I appreciate the fact that we did that. We also had 5 different players run the ball and still couldn't get 100 yards on the ground as a team. So that's a little bit that's concerning. And here's the big concerning piece. Yes, we beat the Giants. Here's the schedule from now until we play the Giants again. The Steelers, loss. The Lions, loss. The 49ers, loss. The Falcons, 50-50. The Eagles, we're going to win that game. Texans, loss. Commanders, loss. Giants, probably win that game. So I see 2 games out of an 8-game stretch that we can actually win moving forward. It's not pretty, Brandon, for the Dallas Cowboys right
for
now.
you to admit the Commanders are going to beat you.
Well, listen, after what I saw this weekend, there is no question in my mind that not only is Jaden Daniels going to win Rookie of the Year, but he's the best quarterback in the NFC East. And I don't care what you throw at me talking about these 12-win seasons with Dak and all this kind of thing. What I saw was a guy that can run like Lamar Jackson and throw from the pocket like a Joe Burrow. And when you put those 2 people together, forget about it. And
you watched a lot of Joe Burrow film at LSU.
And you know what he does? I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but I learned yesterday. Jaden works with a VR headset for 2+ hours a day on throwing plays inside the Washington Commander offense. They've downloaded the offense into this VR headset, and he's on this thing for 2 hours plus a day, not taking hits, not being in the elements, just working on his reads, working on getting rid of the ball. And you could see it last week with his anticipation. I mean, some of the throws he was doing last week were next level throws. They were incredible. So we're going to get into that. But yeah, I think it's all bad for the Dallas Cowboys. Our defense is beat up, right? We have no DeMarcus Lawrence. We have no Micah Parsons. Our secondary is trash. Our offensive line is a disaster. Like I said, 5 guys carried the ball. We couldn't get 100 yards. It's going to be an ugly few weeks for the Cowboys. And I can say that openly and freely. And I don't feel like bad saying it, because it is what it is. It's an 8-game stretch, and it's going to be hell. What you got for the 49ers versus the Patriots? Now,
it's not that.
I hope you're not excited that you beat the Patriots, because they're not a good team.
Not at all. I thought it was a good showing, both offensively and defensively. But what have I been saying pretty much for 2 years now? We still struggle on 3rd down. Allowed them to make a little bit of a comeback. Now, granted, we had the defense Fred Warner had a pick 6. That was great. He's actually one of the only players to have more than 10 interceptions since 2020. So that's fabulous as a linebacker. I think he's revolutionizing the position as we speak. A former safety converted to linebacker. But man, again, we struggled on 3rd down heavily, 44% on the season. But I took a good thing out of this. Brock Purdy has emerged as a field general. I mean, if you haven't, you still have questions about this guy who can't get it done without the Avengers, he's doing it. He's doing it, and he's doing it at a very efficient rate. He's second in passing, second leader passer. The emergence of Mason helps. You know, we're still banged up, man. Injuries are going to plague us, right? Debo, Kittle, CMC, Warner had a sprained ankle yesterday. Now Trent is banged up. So it's just like, damn, are we going to be able to reach our full potential? I mean, right now, we have 2 7th-round picks and an undrafted free agent that's damn near leading the league in every category. Rushing, receiving, and passing right now. Jawan Jennings, Jordan Mason, and Brock Purdy. I love it. But right now, I'm not sure, Tim. I mean, I'm not sure. I can't really put my finger on it. This feels very eerily similar to 2020. But it's like we're just trying to fight it. But, man, we were one of the most injured teams in the league for years under the Shanahan era. If I go back and stretch and we look right now, we got a banged-up Cardinals team coming in, right? Then we got the Seahawks. Then we got the Seahawks. That's not going to be easy. Then we got the banged-up Chiefs. Now, if we can win a Chiefs game at their weakest moment, I say we got a shot.
Chiefs are in trouble.
Yeah, then we got this hype coming in, and old Dallas Cowboys come to visit us.
We ain't got nothing for y'all, man.
Hey, man, let's have a watch party there, man. Let's come to the Casa, hit a few balls on the sim, you know.
You
watch a good
want me
old
to come?
Cowboys.
You don't want to come to my house? You don't want to come to the Skybox? Where I have the 80-inch TV in the media room?
Nah,
No?
I'd rather hit golf balls and watch the game.
I don't even want to.
Really
honestly,
cool.
I doubt I even watched the Cowboys 49er game. There'll probably be 7 other games on I'd rather watch.
Look, man, this is a fight. I mean, it's just going to be a dog fight, man. I mean, stars are banged up. I can't really predict the season. Hopefully we get a win versus the Cardinals. Kyler Murray gives us fits. Dual threat quarterbacks give us fits defensively.
Kyler Murray's really good. That's why he got his jersey on today.
Yeah, but I think right now, I see you trolling, but I think right now with this win and the way the defense played, they had 7 sacks, they had two INTs, they had 2 fumbles. I was like, okay, that's good, despite the Patriots being the worst team in the league. But hey, at least it's a confidence boost to feel like, hey, we're back in the driver's seat. We control our destiny.
Let's see what happens. That's what's important.
We got a dub. That's it. We got the dub.
Let's move on to the rookie quarterback watch. I'll let you take the first one. Bo Nix. 60 yards. Talk about it.
Man, all right. First off, Bo, you played in Oregon, where it's bad weather too. Wet ball. Now you get drafted to Denver. Cold weather. Probably going to have some rain. Right? Now you go up to New York. Not even 100 yards?
It was awful out there, though.
Not even 100 yards. I think there was a period where he had 14 attempts and -7 yards passing.
Yeah, he was
in this game.
12 of 25 for 60 yards. Now, when you talk about the bad weather, Rodgers was 24 for 42, 225. The difference in the game, the Garrett Wilson fumble. That was the difference in the game.
That hurt.
Obviously, neither offense could get anything going because of the weather, but 60 yards?
Look, I'm
under Sean Payton, I can't do that.
Look.
I can't do that.
Let's throw this away.
Just throw
this film away. Throw the film away, Bo.
All right, let's see what happens next
Throw the
week.
film away. I'm not going to dog you. Throw the film away. Because it's windy, it's rainy. If Aaron Rodgers is struggling too, you're probably going to struggle. Granted, you still got the dub, though. Hey, you got the dub. So Sean Payton said, hey, man, kid, forget about that. We got the W. Next, we're on to whoever.
That really talks to me. That speaks more about the issues that are going on in New York. And there also seems to be a big disconnect between Rodgers and Saleh, which we saw, kind of in week 2 on that Monday night game when Saleh went in for the hug and Rodgers kind of pushed him off. And then over the weekend, I don't know if you heard, but Saleh said, because they had a lot of offsides, did the Jets, or false start, sorry. And he said, well, maybe we need to consider whether we're good enough to do the snap counts and things. And Rodgers said in his press conference, well, maybe we just need to hold people accountable, right? I'm not changing my snap count. It's worked for me my whole career. So we got a disconnect between head coach and quarterback, which was a love fest a year ago. So the Jets have some problems to deal with, and losing that game didn't help, for sure. Caleb
Well,
Williams.
with Aaron, I was going to say something about Aaron.
I'm sorry.
I
thought we were done. What are you going to say about Mr. Rogers?
To go back and attest to the whole pushing thing, they had this saying that, hey, Saleh wants to get up 2 scores. And when they did score, Saleh was trying to give him a hug, and Rogers was like, hey, 2 scores. So I think we're looking too much into that. I think he's just in that mentality.
What do you take about the snap count stuff? Because that is a weapon that Rogers is always used.
Well, they jumped off sides like 6 times. And when you get like that defensively as a coach, you're a reactive coach. You're not methodically thinking this through. The snap count, he has one of the best snap counts in the history of the game. He throws a lot of free plays. A
lot of touchdowns.
For touchdowns, right? So I'm agreeing with Aaron Rodgers. Hold these dudes accountable. Hey, hold your water, man. Yeah. We gotta go through a cadence drill. They gotta go through it, right?
It's
go through your cadence drill. Work on it. It's definitely a tool that you cannot get out of your offense. Do not.
Cannot do
You're
it.
You're an NFL player. You can know it. You can know a dummy call from a real call.
Yeah. That's definitely on the rest of the team.
That's just a defensive-minded coach right there. Maybe.
Never would I have told you
He's
to
like,
change your snap count. No, I never would. I would never tell my quarterback.
You think Biggers would have did that? No.
Biggers would never. He would chew out the people that were jumping off sides. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he'll say, fix it. Fix it.
Caleb Williams, improvement. 17 for 23, 157, 1 touchdown, and he got the win.
He got one.
But guess why they got the win? Because I think literally Matthew Stafford died at least twice on the field that day and came back to life.
That
Stafford. Defense for Chicago was on a mission Sunday.
Eating.
I haven't seen a quarterback that take that type of beating in a while. Credit to Matthew Stafford for continuing to get up and continuing to fight, because he was getting blasted and still almost pulled out the game if it wasn't for the late interception. But I'll tell you what, Caleb Williams, I see improvement. And this is 2 weeks in a row I've seen improvement out of Caleb. I still think the Bears are at fault for every quarterback draft they've ever made. But I liked what I saw from Caleb this weekend. How about you?
I think what really helped him, especially being efficient as he was, even though he didn't throw for that many yards, was the run game. You finally had over 90 yards rushing, and that's important. That's important.
Yeah.
That's a gift to a rookie. If you can run the ball effectively, you'll create more opportunities for one-on-one passes. So kudos to them. I really don't have much to say about him. I just think he's learning and growing. Okay. Continue to throw on time, make the little improvements. I'm not going to put the anointing oil on him yet. Or, he just bought like a $16 million house or something like that. I'm like, damn, you're there to stay for 10 plus.
I'm with you. There's no anointing oil. I don't even know if he'll be the Bears quarterback. I don't even know if he'll be the Bears quarterback in 4 years. But
he just bought a beautiful home. He's there to stay, brother.
I do know who will be the Washington Commanders quarterback in 4 years, should he stay healthy. And that's the best rookie right now, Jaden Daniels. I didn't want him in Chicago, Brandon, because in college he looked very much like Justin Fields, and I felt like if we're trying to get away from Justin Fields, why would we take another Justin Fields in the draft? But I'll tell you what, something changed in him. I didn't watch a lot of his college. I watched a lot of his highlights. I watched some of the games. I never saw him dealing from the pocket the way he did this Sunday. And to do it in an NFL game, to throw with anticipation. There was a throw I can think of, the touchdown to McLaurin, the last one, where he's running through the back of the end zone. There's a zone defense. He's running through the zone, and Jaden puts the ball where he is headed, right? You see a lot of these guys today, even Lamar, Dak, these guys are throwing to guys when they're open. Josh Allen does it. He waits till they're open sometimes before he throws it. Jaden Daniels was throwing people open. It was next level throws. They were Aaron Rodgers types of throws. So impressed by him. We've talked about the VR headset. Man, I got to fall on the sword. I didn't think he was going to be much. I'm worried if he's going to be able to play for more than a couple of years because he's so little. He doesn't protect himself very well. But right now, can we say anything negative about this kid? He's amazing.
Is Tim Smith going to get a Commanders Jaden Daniel jersey? Sounds like you're on the train here.
I have one Washington jersey, and it's a Deion Sanders jersey.
Oh, that's a good jersey.
I don't suspect I'll be buying another one, but it's going to be hard not to. As much as I hate Washington, I don't. Oh, I hate them so much. But golly, he looked good. I couldn't turn off the game, Brandon. I could not turn off the game.
Yeah, this kid's legit. I think everybody was watching this one. Kyler versus Jaden Daniels, 2 former Heisman Trophy winners, 2 top picks. And they have a different style that's tailored that not everybody else has. And I love to see it. Jaden Daniels is a hell of a player. He is. I feel like coaching matters. Cliff Kingsbury really has been calling really good plays for him. And he's really catered to his skill set.
And but some he hasn't had to, because this dude was making NFL throws from. I mean, he's not just an RPO quarterback, right?
No. I'm not saying that. But it's
guy.
Right. We're not saying that. If you watched highlights of Jaden Daniels, right? I'm going back to his Arizona style when he was with Herm Edwards and those guys, right? So he was running a little bit of a mix. You could see his ability. He throws one of the best deep balls in the league right now.
He can even go under center. Ball.
Yes.
It's impressive.
He's calm. He's collected. Just stay healthy. Slide. Avoid these big hits. Man, he's doing great. I mean, I have nothing but great things to say about him as well.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see. Now, in fairness, he has played 3 of the worst or 4 of the worst defenses in the league. So he's coming up. He still has more tests to take, right? But his first quarter of the season, you couldn't have played any better, kid. Like
a quarter in, I got to say he's rookie of the year.
You're worth that. You're worth every penny if that's how you want to play.
We'll see what happens. And folks, don't go crazy and bag on the Bears for missing the pick, because I don't think that Jaden Daniels would be this Jaden Daniels in Chicago. All right, I just don't. I think Chicago has a lot of issues, man, that are past the quarterback position. So I'm not even mad. I'm actually happy for Jaden that he got picked where he got picked, that he has an opportunity to succeed. Man,
check this out.
He looked really good.
He has the Browns and the Ravens next.
Those are going to be testers. We're going to find out what he's really about in those 2 games.
And he's got Bears coming.
That's not going to be fun. That's not.
Bro, I have the Bears defense like on all my fantasy teams.
That might be the best defense. Although we saw Baltimore Ravens defense back in form this weekend.
They woke up
holding the mighty Bills at just 10 points.
I think everyone else he smacks, and he's got to play the Steelers too.
Also,
so he's got some tough tests to take, but so far, man, amazing.
Hats off. Kudos to you, Jaden Daniels, for doing a fantastic job, and you looked great on Sunday. Speaking of quarterbacks that look great, let's go into our On Fire segment. Now, folks, you guys don't know, we don't have people to write our scripts and stuff for us, so we do this ourselves, and Brandon wrote the script out yesterday, and he has 7 On Fire quarterbacks. I don't agree with all of these 7. I'm going to tell you now. I added an 8th from what we saw last night, and we're going to talk about that. I think that deserves its own little subject, because what we saw last night was NFL history, even though people on Facebook this morning don't agree, but the fact is what the fact is. So, Brandon, I'm going to let you start, man. This was your baby. You have more than a handful of quarterbacks in here as On Fire. Let's go one by one, and I can tell you whether I agree or disagree. Let's go. Let's have some fun.
Whoa.
Who you got?
Now, granted, these guys, let's take a step back before we say they're just on fire. But I thought they did their job. So we have to put it on fire.
That's much different from on fire.
To be honest, there's only really one. There's only really one or maybe 2.
I see
maybe
one.
2 at best. Maybe 3.
Played last night.
Maybe 3. So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson, man. Got back to
disagree.
form.
Okay.
Why? He had 3 total touchdowns and blew out Buffalo, an undefeated team. He really controlled the pace. He did his job. You may not like how he did it, but he did it.
Nope, I sure don't.
No picks.
13 for 18, 156.
I don't understand your philosophy on this guy, man.
It puts me to sleep. I don't like that type of offense. I don't like the Baltimore Ravens. I don't like watching them because their scheme puts me to sleep. But Their defense is back to form, and that's
You're flat. You just like
you're
the
putting
flash,
Lamar
man.
in there. I'm going to say they won because of that defense, because these numbers wouldn't get it done if the Bills were doing what the Bills typically do. If I woke up on Monday morning and I saw this stat line from Lamar, 13 of 18, 156, 2 touchdowns, I'd say that the Ravens had lost the game without knowing what the defense was able to do. So,
But he didn't have to. They jumped out on the lead immediately. I don't understand it. Like, you just don't like boring. The way he does things.
The ball never flies over 10 yards. You know, there's a lot of running. Derrick Henry, and then we get.
I could have sworn Jared Goff just did the same thing.
Jared Goff threw for 18 of 18 and actually did push the ball down the field some. He did have some drop-offs. He did have a 70-yard screenplay, but he also pushed the ball. I don't like Jared Goff that much either. He did great last night.
Let me ask you this. How many Lamar Jackson games did he have a perfect passer rating and perfect passing game?
Yeah,
he's had 4 of them.
Perfect, though, is no incompletions. Perfect is no one's ever done that before last night.
I understand. Ever. I get it. It's awesome. You know who almost did it, though?
That's all. I'm not a Jared Goff fan.
We'll go to a guy. Awesome. We'll go to a guy that you actually like, and he did have 3 total TDs, just like this guy previously. I just mentioned Baker Mayfield. You just like it because he threw 30 of 47, 2 TDs, no turnovers. He had a rushing touchdown. Absolutely owned the Eagles. It looks like the head coach, Todd Boyles, is that his name?
For the Buccaneers?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got Jalen's number. He's got his number, man.
I would say
since a rookie.
The last 2 years, Baker Mayfield has owned the Philadelphia Eagles. And Jalen Hurts is just, they put his numbers out. And we look at what he's doing this year and we think, God, he's a turnover machine. He's awful. Do you know that his stat line is right there with Patrick Mahomes this year?
Yeah.
That just goes to show that Patrick's not playing good football. He said that as much a week ago. But Jalen is not playing good football, and he certainly doesn't play good against Tampa Bay. He had another fumble this weekend, leads the NFL in turnovers currently. But, yeah, it's hard. I'll agree with you. For on fire, 30 of 47, that's not great. He did have the 2 touchdowns, and they're winning games. The fact that he didn't turn the ball over to an Eagles defense that thrives on turnovers, that's pretty exciting. Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the winning seat. Next.
Who are you, Colin Cowherd right now? Ain't your damn host. Brock Purdy, and I tell you why. I tell you why. Because that dude had 3 other touchdowns that were called back. He would have had 4.
Well,
they were called back. It was a BS holding call. It was another offensive pass interference. Guy who didn't catch the ball, he just ran into him. I was like, what? That's another one? Listen, man, this kid is legit. You can disagree all you want. The fact is he pushes the ball down the field 9.6 per pass.
He does.
Damn near a first down every time.
He does, but he was also 15 for 27, 288, one touchdown, one pick.
We understand. Again, I didn't say – again, I could throw Dak Prescott in here for an efficient game, but you'll find a way to rip him up. But it's about efficiency. It's about getting the dub. Am I right or am I wrong?
I just feel like on fire is higher than
there's really
efficient.
Well, excuse me for having him just having 1 TD. He also had like 40 yards rushing too.
Listen, I'm going to contradict myself here in a second when we go to the next guy.
Yeah, Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco. I only agree because old man Joe had to come off the bench and beat a team that he shouldn't have been able to beat. So that's why I got to give it to him. They weren't going to win that game the way they were playing. He jumped in the game and changed everything. And Anthony Richardson, my friend, please learn to protect yourself. This is 2 years in a row that you've been knocked out, right? He's just taking hits. He's just running, and he's so reckless. But I love what Joe Flacco did.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco coming in, doesn't miss a beat, 16 for 26, 168, 2 touchdowns. No, by definition, that's not on fire. We're giving him flowers.
None of them are on fires.
For what he did off the bench. This next guy was on fire.
So Lamar just did the same thing, and you said crap.
I did, but Lamar didn't come off the bench. Joe did.
Horrible.
Jaden Daniels. You have Jaden Daniels on the list next.
Jaden Daniels, we already talked about him.
I agree.
Great player. Sam Darnold, story of the year. Another 3-touchdown performance. 20 of 28.
I agree.
7. CJ
3
Stroud.
touchdowns, 1 pick.
CJ Stroud, game-winning touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 345 in the air against his divisional opponent, the Jags.
I agree.
Jared Goff throws a perfect game, 100% completion. Wow, that's amazing. Prime time, he's got Detroit rolling.
I agree. Listen,
Whoop,
18,
I got one more.
18
Go
for
ahead.
18, no incompletions. I get the perfect passer rating, also very impressive. But I've watched football. I'm 52 years old. I've been watching football since I'm 8 years old.
Jesus.
I've never seen a quarterback throw a game without an incompletion, ever. So to me, that's impressive. And
Hey,
by
Phil
the way,
Simms almost did it.
he is
in the Super
he
Bowl.
almost did in a Super Bowl, but he didn't. No incompletions. I get it was only 18 throws. I understand all that. The run game was phenomenal. He had a big screen pass completion, which, by the way, the running back. Oh, I can't think of his name. He played for Chicago. Montgomery was the running back. He won angry runs on NFL Network this morning for that catch and run that he had last night. So
That's
Jared
great.
Goff was awesome. Who else you got? You said you had one more.
Fabulous. Geno Smith.
Really?
Yes, bro. He almost threw for 400 yards. And I say Geno because we haven't given enough respect. Put some respect on Geno's name.
I love Geno Smith, but
He leads the league in passing right now.
bro, he threw the
leads
ball
the league in
56 times.
He leads the league in completion percentage at completing 72% of his passes with a 3-1 record. Despite the loss, he balled, man. You
He
got to
threw
put
the
some
ball
respect on.
56 times and threw 1 touchdown.
Okay,
56 times.
yeah,
Seattle.
but I'm giving it to
What are
him
you
as
doing?
a whole, not just week 4.
Okay,
Not
as a
just
whole,
week 4.
that's
as a
fair.
whole.
Geno
I'm
Smith
just giving
is-
him some respect. Now,
and we're happy to
garbage
see
juice
him
segment.
having. Yeah, we're happy to see him having the success that he's having.
Garbage juice segment. What you got, man? Rip it
Half
out.
the league, half of it at least. But I'm gonna give you some names, just first names because I don't even want to say their last names. Bo, Trevor, Gardner, Jalen, Levis, Watson, garbage juice, and then we can go on. There's more.
Oh, it's bad.
This is the worst year of quarterback play we have seen. in
It's bad.
decades.
It's bad.
Who do you want to put in there? I mean, I just threw a whole bunch of guys in the garbage juice. And by the way, even though he's not playing, Bryce Young is still there. He's just hanging out. He hanging out, watching TV, eating snacks, and inviting all his friends like Bo, Trevor, Gardner, Jalen, Levis, and Watson.
I'm not really disappointed in Bo because everybody has a head scratching game. Gardner Minshew, I mean, he has his head scratching games. Jalen, he's turned the ball over 11 times in the past 10 games. Levis, he leads the league in turnovers. The two that really concern me and are some of the highest paid players in this league is Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson. And it just so happens they're from Clemson. It just so happens they're from Clemson.
That's cool.
So, is this a Clemson problem?
This is not a Clemson problem because Deshaun Watson was that man until he stopped getting his
And
massage.
so is Trevor.
No, he was only that man in college. He was never that man in the NFL.
But hey, I'm just saying
Was he?
right now, Trevor did have a great comeback against the Chargers and that playoff win. I thought that was going to
True.
spark his career.
True.
But he's regressed with Doug Peterson. It doesn't look very well. They've lost 9 straight. Trevor's only completing just above 50% of his passes, which for a $60 million QB or a $55 million QB, that's not good. Deshaun Watson really has not put anything together. You saw a little bit of flash, but I feel like right now he doesn't see the field very well. He used to have great poise in the pocket. He used to get in and out of things. Now he doesn't. And so I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it with those two, but it's very disappointing. It's just ironically they're both from Clemson. So
Ugh. Jacoby Brissett.
I don't know if Clemson's the right go right now. I don't know. DJ Ugalele, he's gone. Like he's out now. So
It's bad.
It's bad.
Clemson, poo. NFL quarterback play this year, poo. Hopefully it'll
it
get
ain't
better.
been good, man. It ain't
Hopefully
been
it'll
good.
get better. Listen, Here's the good news. We had a Brady moment this week.
We did.
I want you to go and talk about this because I didn't see it, but you saw it. You have the details. I saw the highlight, but that's not seeing it. So break down for the folks what C.J. Stroud did this weekend.
Oh, man. Hey, under 3 minutes, down by 3. Trevor Lawrence, he could have sealed the game, but they got a breakup pass on the 4th down. He has the opportunity to score. Throws a dart to Nico Collins, which is like a 36-yard gain. And then he just runs the ball effectively. Drains the clock. This was what is impressive. He was 2:45 left in the game, down 3. And he was on his opposite 40. And he goes all the way down and milks the clock damn near to like 8 seconds.
That's impressive.
And they win. That was pretty impressive. The clock management was gold. I think he had a fake left boot right in the flats. And the guy that caught it, I'm going to completely butcher his name. It's a long name, but I'm going to butcher it. Agun Babwa. Probably terrible.
Yeah, I think it was all right.
But the guy who caught the winning touchdown was a former Jaguar. And they beat the Jags.
Uh-oh. What's his name?
Game. I told you. I butchered his name.
Oh, you butchered. That was the guy.
Yeah, I butchered his name. I'm gonna call him D.O.
Okay, that sounds good. So
D.O.
C.J. Stroud once again playing above his years. Yeah, we love C.J. He's a little bit of a throwback pocket passer, is C.J.
He is.
Yep,
he is.
He
sits in that thing.
Folks, Brandon was telling me yesterday that pretty much the pocket passer's dead, but I think last night, and my Brady moment is going to go to Jared Goff for the entire game last night. But I think we saw 2 games or a game with 2 pocket passers. Throwback to the 80s, 90s, run the ball, play action, throw it downfield. Neither one of these guys are necessarily runners between Goff and Geno Smith. I'm not saying Geno can't run, but Geno's not a –
Put some respect on Geno's – he can run.
Listen, I didn't say he can't run, but I don't consider Geno Smith a Kyler Murray or Jaden Daniels. He's not a running quarterback. He is a pocket passer who can run. I thought that's what we saw last night, but Jared Goff – going 18 for 18, 292. This is impressive. I don't care the fact that he didn't throw a single incompletion the entire night.
That was amazing. Yep.
That's pretty nuts. So I'll give him his Brady moment for the entire game. Now we get into a new segment. This is new for this week. We want to talk about this just a minute. The new generations of quarterback. Brandon talked about it. New wave. I'm not sure exactly what that means. So Brandon, explain what you mean by new wave of quarterback.
The pocket passer is dead.
But it's not. It was proven last night.
It is. I understand that, but he has an effective – when you run the game, when you run the football the way they did, you have the opportunity for that. Now, I say
that's
it's dead
still
because –
the best scenario to win football games, by the way.
Tim, back in your day –
play defense.
Back in your day, many, many years ago – Many years ago.
Wasn't that many, but
many. Quarterbacks had to be 6'4", 6'5", statues in the pocket. The inability to move in and out of the pocket. We saw flashes, right, integrated into the NFL for years and years and years, right? Then you have this athletic quarterback that comes in by the name of Randall Cunningham. Then it evolved with Steve Young. Then Steve McNair. Then you had the freaking Michael Vick, who just electrified everybody. But Steve McNair, Steve Young, they could all do what? They could throw from the pocket pretty well, but they had this crazy athleticism. I think this is what you're seeing today now. Guys, you got to be able to move. I'm not asking you to be a 4'5", 4'6" guy, but you have to have the ability to get in and out of the pocket when the play breaks down. The defenses are too damn fast. The ends are too fast. Right? So the game is speeding up, so you need a quarterback that has the ability to get in and out. We haven't seen that in the 90s. Remember those quarterbacks, old Jeff George and those big boys, Brad Johnson, like these big statues. They had a gun, but they couldn't get it in and out, when the play broke down. And I think guys that you're seeing now, these big guys, like a Josh Allen, right, like a Joe Burrow, they can get in and out of things. You can be athletic. Those pocket guys, man, that shit is dead. You got to have some wheels. Look at Arch Manning in college. He's the remix to Peyton Manning and Eli. But he has some legs. He can move around a little bit. We're not asking you to be these dynamic athletes. It's great to have them, but I think the new generation of quarterback is legs transition with that arm and that skill set.
So do you think we're going to finally see, because this has never happened yet, are we going to see a running quarterback win a Super Bowl? Because it has yet to happen.
Yes,
we are.
It has happened. Steve Young did it.
By the time Steve Young won the Super Bowl, he was no longer a running quarterback. What? He threw for 5 touchdowns in that game.
I understand that, but he can still ride out. He could still
There's
ride out,
a difference
man.
between a Steve Young and a Lamar Jackson. There's a difference.
Oh.
If you take Lamar's running ability away like the Chiefs did a year ago in the playoffs, you stifle him. And it's happened 4 or 5 times in big games with Lamar. You can't stifle a Steve Young in the pocket. You can't stifle, so far, a Jaden Daniels in the pocket. You can't stifle a C.J. Stroud in the pocket, right? There's still something to be said for the guy that can stand in the pocket and deliver the ball.
Yes, but I'm saying that. But I'm saying I think we're on 2 different ends here, and I'm talking about the specific old school quarterback, the 5-7 step drop,
like Aaron Rodgers,
5 flat 40. Aaron Rodgers ran a 4.6. You saw you. I'm just saying, like you don't see these huge big guys, Byron Leftwich. Like you don't see these guys anymore. Just tall, just sitting in the pocket. They can move. That's all I'm asking. They can move. That's all I'm saying. They can move now.
Here's
you
what's
have
going
to be able to move. It's the new generation.
In my opinion, this is what's changing. The defensive lines are evolving, while the offensive lines necessarily are not. And what I mean by evolving is they're very athletic. The defensive linemen, they're running as fast as running backs and tight ends, and your offensive linemen haven't been able to catch up yet. So blocking schemes are becoming more difficult. Running backs don't block the way they used to either, right? Running backs used to have to be able to pass protect. Many of them can't anymore. There's only a handful in the league that can. So now you've got that problem. Tight ends are more about catching the ball now than they are blocking. So tight ends aren't used in pass pro a lot of times. So you got to really depend on these 5 guys, which means you got to have a quarterback that can get in and out of the pocket away from these fast-ass defensive linemen. Here's what happened. So oftentimes we had that guy and we never developed his passing ability. We just let him live off his athletic ability. Right. And now we're seeing a Jaden Daniels who comes into the league, who already has the running ability, but now is elevating his passing ability. And now, to your point, if you get guys like him who can sit in the pocket and shred you,
scary.
Decide to run around and do what they want on the outside, that's impossible to stop because you can't scheme for that.
Right.
And guys, I'm not saying Lamar can't throw from the pocket, but we've seen it.
He's one of the most accurate passers in the pocket statistically, Tim.
He is, but if you stick him in there for a whole game, we know that
he's done it several times. He's done it several times. I don't know what
you're
not seeing.
Every time in the playoffs, the teams
you don't
that
watch
take away his
Raven
running
games.
ability win the game. When you take Lamar's running ability away, typically you can shut down that offense.
Okay.
You just can't. He's got really one guy to throw downfield to, which is Zay Flowers. They don't have an array of weapons on the outside. But
the disappearance of Mark Andrews needs to be studied.
Mark Andrews is disappeared.
Where is he gone?
He's on a milk
God.
Let me ask you though, if you have the choice, right? And the new rule is that the quarterback can't run. Quarterback cannot run. Period. That's the rule. And you can choose Brock Purdy or Lamar Jackson, and the quarterback can't run. You're going to take Brock Purdy every time. His processor is so fast and he's so accurate that he just gets rid of the ball, right? That's my point. And when you take away that run, and what really bothers me, you talked about it back in my day. Boy, when we played football in the neighborhood when I was a kid, if the quarterback ran, that guy was not playing quarterback anymore. We took him out of the quarterback spot immediately. Your job is to throw the football to us. When you played quarterback for me, you could run, no question. Did I call a lot of running plays for you? No. Why? Because we had the skill set people, and you were more valuable to myself and the team in the pocket, distributing to the ball, to the guys that were supposed to run, that were getting paid to run. If you get hurt, I don't have somebody else to distribute the ball to those players. So for me, that's where I kind of get when the quarterback runs too much, right? But I am liking what I'm seeing out of some of these guys C.J. Stroud is a pocket passer who can run if needed, right?
Yep. Go down the list.
Justin Fields is a runner who can throw if needed. It's just a difference. It's just a difference to me. And so I get you. New wave. Totally get it.
It all started with Mahomes. Mahomes started it off too.
But again, Mahomes doesn't run to run, right? Mahomes isn't one read and I'm getting out of here.
No,
right?
that's what I'm saying, Tim. It's basically, break it down like this: quarterbacks with legs.
Okay. But don't depend on the legs. I don't want you to depend on your athleticism.
You're crazy if you can't depend on them legs.
I don't want that to be just because you're athletic. I don't want you to pass up throwing the post down the middle because you don't trust it. You'd rather run and get 6 yards. I'd rather you throw that post down the middle.
I'd rather you be smart.
Have that confidence.
I'd rather you be smart. You're never in doubt if you run it, especially if it opens up. As QBs that see that pocket and you see that B or C gap open, it's damn near 10 yards every time if you play it right. I'm just saying it's like it's stealing. It's stealing a first down instead of risking a ball downfield 20, 30 yards, which the further you get out, the less chance you're going to hit it. It's a 50-50 shot, right? You want everything within 15 and in.
Well,
right? But if you have that 10-yard, it depends on the situation, and you have a 2nd and 9 and you want to throw that ball, okay, why not just run and get 8 and slide and reset? It's all about keeping the chains moving, brother. It's hard to call a play on 3rd and 8 when you got an opportunity in the B and C gap to run. That's what I'm saying.
But until one of these guys wins the Super Bowl, I'm not buying into it. I'm not buying into it.
They have already.
Who?
They have already. Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, again, Patrick Mahomes doesn't play the game like Lamar Jackson or
he runs zone reads. He scrambles around. He gets upfield. Those are the kind of players I'm talking about, Tim. You're talking about a Lamar Jackson. Like, Lamar Jackson is one of one. I'm telling you, if he gets into a different scheme.
We say that too much.
But he is, Tim. Like, I don't know how you can't see that.
But
everybody else can see it, but how do you know that? If he goes to the Super Bowl, he's winning. He's 21-1 against the NFC.
I agree with you.
They don't see him enough.
I agree with you, but the AFC teams know how to stop him and stop that. Now, with Derrick Henry,
we'll see. We'll see because the Chiefs are banged up. We'll see.
Oh, I don't think the Chiefs are the team this year.
If he goes to the Super Bowl, it's over. You damn sure ain't the Bengals, then who is it? You damn sure ain't Buffalo. Who is it?
I think it. Well, why do you say damn sure? Because until this past weekend, Buffalo looked unbeatable.
Until they ran into who? Lamar.
No.
And the Henry show.
No. The defense of Baltimore. Held the Bills to 10 points. Anybody can win a football game if your defense holds the other team to 10 points.
That ain't true.
You should be able to win a football game if your defense holds the other team to 10 points. Right?
We've seen it happen, but that's not true.
All I'm going to say is, based on what I've seen, based on the injuries I've seen from the Chiefs, and, I'm never going to count the Chiefs off, but I could see a Bills Ravens rematch in AFC title game, hopefully in Buffalo. So as we talk about this, and this will be an ongoing topic, who are the quarterbacks right now that you schedule your day to watch? That you would, if that game was on, you're sitting down to watch the game. Who are your quarterbacks?
Man, I got a lot of them. I got a lot of them that I like. I like Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, Kyler, Jordan Love, Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Stroud, and Stafford. Those are the guys I really pay attention to.
Okay.
And so
I like that list.
Yeah.
I've got Allen, Purdy, Kyler, Burrow, Rodgers, C.J. Stroud, Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield. Hate to say this.
Baker.
This is going to hurt my heart to say this. Jaden Daniels and Justin Herbert. Love to watch Justin Herbert. Although this new John Harbaugh offense where they run the ball 50 times a game is getting on my nerves a little bit. We're not really letting Justin get loose, but maybe that'll come. We knew Jim wanted to run the football, but golly, you got Herbert back there. Use the guy. What are we doing?
You got to use him.
Woo! Anyway, those are my guys that I really enjoy. And again, I was really looking forward to the Lamar Jackson game 2 weeks ago when I went to the Dallas Baltimore Ravens game. But the game was so boring. Lamar didn't do anything that was exciting to me. He ran a couple quarterback sweeps and he threw a bunch of passes that were under 10 yards. But I wanted to see some flash. I wanted to see some excitement. I didn't see it. So it was unfortunate. At any
Give
rate,
me.
what'd you say? There you go.
You'll appreciate him one day.
One day.
One day. You'll
So
appreciate
now
him one day. It's like hating on Kobe Bryant, and then when Kobe retired, you're like, damn, I miss Lamar.
I never hated on Kobe, but Lamar just.
Man, most people did until he retired. Then they realized how good he was.
Lamar should have played football back in like the 20s or the 30s.
Lamar is one of one, dude. He doesn't have to throw for 340 yards when he can rush for 100.
I know.
Like, he can break you down in ways that no other quarterback can.
I know. I just don't.
As a defensive coordinator, I would be stressed playing him this week. I'm like,
I get it.
Gosh,
I
here
respect
we go.
it. I appreciate. Why.
At least you respect it. That's good.
I just don't enjoy watching that style of football. That's just not my style. Like, I want a Dan Marino again. Give me the 80s Dolphins and Dan Marino.
Boy, Dan would rip this league up.
Oh, my goodness. But we'll never
John Elway will rip this league up.
We'll never see another Dan Marino or John Elway, I don't think.
Unless
the game changes again.
Rip this league up.
I don't know about that. I think we have a
Brett Favre could run, though. Brett Favre could run.
I think we have a Brett Favre. I think his name is Josh Allen.
Yeah, oh, Lord.
I mean, except for, the Percocets.
Josh to me is he's got a mix of Dante Culpepper, Steve McNair, and a little bit of Cam Newton. Like, that's who he is. In the Amazon series, The Quarterbacks, they interviewed him, and he was telling, like, who he modeled his game off for. I was like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. McNair was real tough. He get those tough runs, and he's got a cannon. I was like, damn.
He's still reckless to me.
I like that. Hey, he hasn't thrown a pick all year, bro.
He hasn't.
Stop playing.
He hasn't. I mean, reckless with his body.
He doesn't care. I love it.
Especially when the game's on the line. He just if he wasn't as big as he is, he may not be in the game anymore.
He's a beast,
he probably
man.
would have gotten broken by now.
He's a beast.
Listen, guys. We're going to bring something fun back into the show. We're almost done. We've got 2 more segments left. We want to go back to Newey's fantasy segment because he's been killing it in his fantasy leagues this year. At least that's what he tells me. I'm not.
Although I was winning 4 this week. I was winning 4 this week. It was a bad stretch. It was trash.
I can't confirm nor deny, but Brandon, who are you starting this week? Who do people need to look at to start at quarterback in their fantasy games this weekend?
Start Lamar versus the Bengals. Start Jordan Love versus the Rams. And start Brock Purdy versus the Cardinals. Historically, they have had great games against these teams. Bengals are one of the worst defenses in the league. The Rams are one of the worst defenses, and so is the Cardinals. Last year, Brock Purdy was 94% completion, had a damn near perfect game, and was pushing the ball down the field to his Avengers. So hopefully BA shows up.
Failure with that one.
I actually have Brock Purdy as a quarterback.
Okay.
What do you mean? I also have Dak Prescott, too.
Oh, of course you do. Anybody else? Anybody else you want to start this weekend?
That's pretty much it. Because Dak goes against the Steelers, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good game, brother.
No.
It's a lot of tough games for quarterbacks, but I am glad I have my guy to roll with, so we'll be okay. Of course you are.
So let's talk about go ahead.
Let's go. Week 5 QB matchups, man.
Yes, sir. I've got, we'll just go one by one. I've got Falcons versus the Buccaneers, Baker versus Kirk. Kirk's been playing pretty good down there in Atlanta. This is a big division game. Baker obviously has been playing great. They have 1 loss on the year. So to me, that's a big game, a good game to watch anytime we get a division matchup like that.
I like it.
No comments?
No.
No comments? Okay. I'll go to the next one. I got Jets-Vikings. Darnold versus Rodgers. Rodgers going back to Minnesota for the first time since he left Green Bay. Sam Darnold on a tear right now, and Aaron Rodgers and the Jets struggling a little bit. But 2 weeks ago, Rodgers looked like Rodgers, right? So does he go back to that form in the Dome against the Vikings outside of the rain? Bills Texans, Josh Allen versus C.J. Stroud, 2 of the best quarterbacks in the AFC, could be a possible playoff matchup. And then, believe it or not, I have 49ers Cardinals, Brock versus Kyler, pocket passer versus athletic quarterback. Going to be a really fun game to watch.
Should be fun.
Kyler, I thought, has been playing great this year. And, with the injuries to the 49ers, this could be a game for the Cardinals to steal one. We'll see.
Shouldn't you would want that, wouldn't you? You would like that, wouldn't you?
Yes, I absolutely want that. 100%.
So you want us to lose.
Yes.
And then the next week, we play you guys. You want a ticked off 49er team?
What'd you say? No.
So we lose. Well, we play the Seahawks. Ooh, these are
we don't
back-to-back
play us
divisional
next.
games. We got to make it happen. We got to make it happen. I like the C.J. Stroud Allen one. I think that's going to be good. Baker versus Kurt is always going to be a fun game, a divisional matchup. And then, of course, you got Kyler Murray versus Brock Purdy. I think that's going to be a fun game too. Let's roll, baby.
Let's do it. Well,
Let's roll.
It's another good week of NFL
Fun
football
show,
coming
man.
up. Hopefully, we start to get some better quarterback play because it's getting harder and harder to find the guys that are really playing well right now.
It's been pretty rough.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of the QB Huddle Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and get involved in the content. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Franklin, a.k.a. New Era Media. Thanks to Mark Watson and Sean Twix Edwards for all of our social media stuff. Brandon, you got anything to say to the folks before we go?
Nothing. Like, share,
Nothing?
comment. If you think I'm crazy on my takes, I don't care. We want you to comment. I'll
Prove 'em
comment
wrong.
with you. Right.
Prove us wrong. If
I
you
mean,
think
so
we're not.
far,
Prove us wrong.
prove me wrong.
That's all I'm going to say. See you next week. Keep those
See ya.
chains moving.
Thank you.